Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. If you haven't been, you've definitely heard of Tresind and Tresind Studio, a modernist Indian fine dining experience. So incredible, in fact, it's just been awarded a Michelin Star. Welcome to the show, Chef Himanshu. Saini, we're so excited to have you.
Welcome and congrats.
Thank you so much.
Huge congratulations.
Thank you.
Amazing.
How does it feel?
Unreal.
Unreal to get the Michelin Star?
It's something just out of the dreams, you know. Every chef who walks in this profession, Michelin is one of those standout old organization with so much of history, you know. If you ask any young chef, he knows about Michelin, you know. So it has so much of importance. When I moved to Dubai, I remember I used to crib and cry and that why the guide is not here, why the 50 best is not there, because you need some kind of external motivation also. It's not just to attract the fame and attention, but this is the kind of stuff which really push you, which really brings the best out of you. And I think this year has been fortunate for Dubai, you know, back to back. In last 6 months, there is Gourmet, there is Michelin Guide, there is 50 Best Middle East Africa. So it's too much happening and it's too fast to keep up with.
Well, I mean, Tresind has been awarded each and every time, and I want to, before we get to that, I kind of want to just like pinpoint on the event and the lead up to it.
Yeah.
So like, first of all, did every Dubai restaurant get an invite, or when you got an invite, were you like, ding, 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 we're getting an award? How did it work?
So I think the inspection started early this year, and we were actually closed because we were relocating. So we were not really sure whether they would reach us. But with Michelin, I think they are super professional in that sense. And I think it's, of course, they had someone locally on board here, which were guiding them, you know, which restaurants to go to and all this kind of stuff. So the first round of invites came in a while back, and I was like, okay, you know, maybe we were relocating, so we try next year. And then slowly, as the inspections were going more and more, the restaurants who were also open recently started to get invites, and that kind of made me nervous. You know, maybe we have a chance, maybe there's someone who's going to come in. And you know, every guest who is coming in, and we were looking at with this eye of him being an inspector, you know.
Sure.
So for us, I think that's the beauty of it, you know, how anonymous it is. And this will, you know, not just the journalist and the media should get the importance or the VIP treatment, you know. Michelin push you to treat everyone equally, because you don't know who's this guy who's eating. So it's very important that you treat everyone the same, you serve everyone the same, and yeah, it has to be flawless, the experience it is. So there was a lot of butterflies, there were a lot of stress and tension, nervous. Of course, when you get the invite, you don't really know what is there for you, because all the restaurants who are selected by Michelin in the guide, not rated with the star or the gourmand, was also invited, has the same invite and everything. So everybody was chatting, everybody was calling, did you get the invite, are you coming, and
So you and your restaurant friends?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
nice.
not supposed to be out in the air, but you know, it's the first one, and everybody was nervous, anxious. Usually in Europe and in East Asia, whenever you have the Michelin invite, they always ask for the chef jacket size, and then you know that you're getting a star or not. But it doesn't happen in this region. It's because, of course, they know it's going to be too obvious, and the first one they wanted to have, you know, pure
So
surprise.
big secrecy, wow.
Yes.
So you don't have to register your restaurant. You just get invited by them.
I think it's of course they hire someone locally on board, and maybe Dubai Tourism, who saying, you know, this is probably the hit list. Go and check it out, and of course,
congratulations once again.
Thank you.
It's such an honor. You guys were the only Indian restaurant as well to receive the Michelin Star.
Yeah.
So well deserved.
We love the food.
Yeah.
We've been down so many times. Casey is obsessed.
Yeah.
But tell me now, what does the Michelin Star mean? Does it mean prices go up? Or everything stays the same?
It means
It's the question everyone wants to know right now.
It means expectations go up more than prices, you know.
More than prices?
Yes.
Prices stay the same?
Prices stay the same.
Okay.
Prices stay the same, but the expectations go up. Like from the moment itself, in the evening itself of the gala, people are coming in and they have these expectations. You know, we see surge in the reservation calls. We see so many people writing to us, wanted to reserve online, and it's amazing to see. You know, sometimes, you know, I always have this feeling being in Dubai for so many years. There's still not enough market for an experience like what we offer at Studio. You know, it's a small restaurant with 20 seats, and sometimes we struggle hard enough to fill those seats also, is because people are, I think, not ready for it. It's a 2 hours experience. Sometimes they lack patience. Sometimes they don't really know what to expect from a meal out of this. And I think Michelin solves all of this. If it's Michelin starred or Michelin recommended or Bib Gourmand, people know there's some kind of quality they can expect from a restaurant. So I think that's the expectation you have to live up to. And of course, next year you try and push to get 2. Everyone is, I think, the one who got 1 will push for 2. And the Bib Gourmands, of course, they are with a certain criteria, but of course has a scope to push for 1. And I think you would see the number significantly will increase next year with the restaurants amongst ours.
So it'll be eagle eyes all year, and I think just the pressure. What's the level of pressure? And we know how exact Michelin is in terms of, like, they're looking at your ingredients, they're looking at your personality, they're looking at like what's presented on the plate. And what actually changed on Tresind Studio? Because what you do is so exact already.
Yes.
What's changed?
But I think, you know, there would be some people who would say, oh, I want it to be 2 stars. Who doesn't, you know? Everyone want more and more. But I think it's, food is such a subjective topic, you know. I have 2 guests sitting on the table. There is one dish and one loves absolutely the most, and one say, oh, maybe it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
So, you know, and with other restaurant criteria, you have many voters who would come and eat with you. So the average turns out to be, you know, if 100 people are eating in your restaurant who are potentially voters, say, for 50 best restaurants, 90 likes them, 10 say, okay, it worked or it didn't work. But, you know, you have an average, the majority. But in Michelin, it doesn't work like this. You have 1 or 2 guy who is coming to eat. It depends how the day was, how the inspector day is, you know, is he happy, is he not happy, is he stressed? But they are professionals, of course. They don't bring all that to the table. But in the kitchen, how the kitchen was, how was the produce in the morning, which came in the restaurant, how are the staff feeling, are they happy, are they stressed, and it's just 1 or 2 experiences which decides if you get the star or you don't get the star. And that's what I say, you know, you have to treat every day that there is a Michelin inspection happening. The restaurant should treat every day like this, and then they are achieving perfection and treating everyone the same. I think that's the key here. I think everyone who's listening to this should ensure that if you want to achieve more, treat everyone as a Michelin inspector, and I'm sure this will change the game.
That is so scary, though, like making sure that every guest gets attention, time.
Yes, of course, why not?
All of the detail, And, you know, it usually happens, like when you're waiting for a package, right? And it's supposed to come on Tuesday, and that's the only day that you're out. You know, like that's how.
Sometimes it happens like this, you know. During that phase when I was traveling, it makes me nervous, and I was pretty much sure that day I'm not in the restaurant is the day I get the inspector in. So no, but then that's what the team is for.
They would know, maybe they would know if the head chef wasn't there, if it's Michelin.
No, I don't. No, they book in advance because they don't take their chances. They book in advance. They don't care whether the chef is there or not there. And it's not a chef game, I think. A lot of people have this misconception saying that a star is given to a chef. No, it's not true. The star is given to a restaurant. And it's probably the chefs are the luckiest one who get all the attention out of it, but it's the restaurant which should be deserved, the team, everyone from the pot washing to the one receiving the guests, the receptionist who make the reservations. Everyone has an equal important role to play.
Can I say that when I was at Tresind studio, like the experience was amazing, you know, 13-course meal, but the service was just phenomenal. And when I was there, someone in my group was like, oh, this, like, it was a jus or something, and he was like, this is amazing, this is amazing. And then we were brought an extra little vial to take home so we could use it in cooking.
Yeah.
And then I went back 3 months later and I had, what was his name? Your top.
Vipin.
Vipin, sorry.
Yeah.
Vipin, if you're watching, I love you. Vipin was serving and he came out, remembered our group and came back with the exact same warm vial of deliciousness for us to take home.
That's so sweet.
So it was the whole experience.
There's always a saying,
So
you know, you
thoughtful.
say that good service can save bad food, but bad service cannot save good food. So it's
that is so true.
yeah. So
That's 100% true.
what happens in every part of a restaurant, every team member is equally important. It's a star given to the whole team, to the restaurant, not to the chefs. Even the one at the pot washing is as important as probably the one who's cooking on the line. So we treat everyone the same, and
That's what you call the Michelin state of mind.
yes.
Love that.
100%.
So let's talk a little bit more about you now.
Yeah.
So were you always fond of cooking from a young age? If not, was there something else you wanted to get into? How did this chef world stumble upon
I think the first answer I gave it to this question is that I was not good at anything else. So I was not really great in academics, not really into sports. I love sports, but playing sports is a different thing than, you know, enjoying it. So I think I never left myself with many options. But I'm from Old Delhi, and you know, Old Delhi is like a mecca of foodies, you know, or street food, and I've grown up eating every day probably out. And even though my mother was a fabulous cook, you know, every mother is a great cook. But, you know, I always tell this amazing story that, you know, my grandparents' house was you know, in India back in the day, everyone used to live together, you know, the grandparents and his brother and his family. So there were about 50 people. Imagine living in a big house in Old Delhi, and imagine how the kitchen would work in that scenario. You are making 3 meals for about 50 people living in the house. So
and everyone with different tastes, different preferences.
That's okay, but the funny thing is that the kitchen was already like a restaurant kitchen, you know. So my grandmother was probably the head chef, so she decides who's doing what. Your job is to cook wash the dishes. Your job is to knead the dough, and you are the one who's going to
You were ready for
cut the vegetables, and the grandmother is the one who comes with the final tempering, and you know, the dinner is ready. So I was like a mama's boy when I was growing up, so I always used to follow her in the kitchen and, you know, try to be with her. And I think that's the point where my interest was always there within me. And as I said, when there was nothing for me to do, I said, okay, let's do what you like to do. And of course, it's more about my love to eat food. I think that's more important. There are many people I knew that took this profession because they believe that when they'll be in the kitchen, they'll be surrounded with food and they'll be eating all day long. That's the best thing to do, you know, in life.
When you go home, like tonight or whatever night, do you cook again, or do you take things?
You're done.
Or
No.
at the weekend, do you?
I
cook?
have a cook at home.
Oh God, the
my-
pressure
For the cook to be a cook for a cook. Oh.
for a
No,
Michelin
it's
Star cook.
too exhausted. I get too exhausted when I reach home. So of course, can't be in the kitchen anymore.
Yeah, I get that. So, I mean, would you cook for your significant other, or would you want your significant other to cook for you?
Yeah, I think in the lockdown I cooked the most at home, because we were all missing kitchen during those days, and you know, every day I'm cooking at home. That was the best part of the lockdown, you know.
Cooking at home?
Cooking at home, and I have never spent so much time at home. Probably that was the first time in my life, 2 months. It was like a summer vacation where you're not doing anything.
And there was no
Cooking and
pressure at
eating.
the time because what could you do?
No, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Recently, we know the Michelin Star. There's also been the 50 Best.
Yeah.
There's been a number of awards recently. What do these awards really mean to you and to restaurants? Like, are they game changers, or is it more about the cooking?
It's
at the end of
about,
the day?
you know, I always say when Dubai is one of the cities where you have so many travelers coming in. We say it's the right in the center. People from east, west, they all travel through Dubai, and I think the travelers who were coming to Dubai, they need to have something legitimate to look up to, you know. Otherwise, I always say, no disrespect to any publication, but there were 4 or 5 publications in Dubai before all of this, and they all have their best Indian restaurant. Someone says this, someone says that, someone says that. So it's very diverse, you know, like the city. So as a traveler, if I'm coming to Dubai, I will be so much confused, you know.
Yeah.
You say this is the best restaurant, this is the best restaurant. What is the best restaurant?
And they don't really want to all say the same ones either. They
yeah,
want to be like, oh,
no,
well,
they're very diverse, as I said.
This one chose this, so I'm going to choose another one.
So for a traveler, it's difficult. And of course, I'm a firm believer that it's very difficult to rate a restaurant and compare a Japanese to an Indian or Italian to a Chinese. You know, it's a different game. You can't really say, oh, this restaurant is better than this restaurant. And I think that's why you have these stars, which there can be many 1 stars and there can be many 2 stars, and they're based on some other factors other than the cuisine. You know, so I think they would make things very simplified for the city. Like the travelers who would come in now, they would know where to go, which places to go.
Makes it easier for foodies to
navigate. Yeah, for sure. I'm so surprised though that as a boy you were let into the kitchen and help out.
Yeah.
Because in Indian households they would just tell the boy like, oh, what are you doing? You know, go play sports, go play cricket.
Really?
No, it's a bit of a thing. Yes, and I think I felt that in the school. When people used to ask me, you know, what do you want to become? My friend's mom, and I say, you know, I want to be a chef. He said, are you crazy? We won't let our boys do the cooking in the kitchen. It's like a female job, you know. And of course, as an Indian, you would know. Every parents wants their kids to be a doctor, engineer, you know. Yeah,
doctor, engineer, lawyer.
Lawyer, yeah.
One of the 3.
Or teacher, you know. Or you.
If not nothing else, you're a disappointment.
Yeah, but I think it's changing now. In India, we see so many of the young chefs changing what Indian food should be perceived, and changing the misconceptions. People perceive Indian food to be spicy, but it's not about being spicy, it's about spices, you know, and it's not just a takeaway curry or a bread or a rice. It's so much more to offer from India. You know, I always say that whenever you travel to India, every 100 to 200 kilometers, you go, you see the cuisine changes, you know, the language changes. There is about 120 spoken languages, more than 19,000 dialects in India. You're talking about a country which is so diverse. So, and people, you know, whenever I travel to Europe and do a presentation on the stage, and one time I was making this speech, half an hour I spoke, you know, everybody's quiet. And then I was getting this weird feeling from the people who were sitting in the crowd. And I asked that, you know, can you guys name me 5 Indian dishes? And nobody has a thing to say. That, like, people couldn't name 5 Indian dishes. And I was surprised. I said what I was speaking about, you know, make no sense among people because they have no clue about Indian food.
Yeah.
And I'm not being biased while I say this. Probably Indian food is one of the most tastiest cuisines in the world, and I say this to Thai food also. Now, in terms of every cuisine is great, but I'm saying in terms of the aroma, in terms of I being an Asian, like strong, intense, complex flavors. And that's what Indian and Thai food offers, and has both of the countries have a rich street food culture, and that's what I love to eat, you know, as a chef. So, yeah.
What do you love to serve people? Let's look at Tresind's studio in particular.
Yeah.
It's like a really exciting kind of, it's a set menu, so you get what you're given.
Yeah.
But each dish looks and tastes more phenomenal than the last.
Yeah.
What do you think is like the most exciting part of your menu?
I think the most exciting part of the menu is still giving you comfort in terms of the Indian flavors, the Indian dishes, but everything is been cooked and served with a different eye. You know, it's about the perception, and I think it can only comes from the personality and I think what we cook in studio is the personality of me, of course, as a chef, but of course, the expression of my team also. We give you a version of kebab, but you've tasted that one. We say it's probably the most...
Tasted it twice.
No, it's an amazing story about this dish. We have a dish called kebab scarpetta. Of course, we call it scarpetta is because we literally serve you those last bits of a kebab, you know, which is always stuck in the pan, which is, you know, which has all those burnt flavors, all those fattiness in it, all those complex flavors of the spices, and we serve you those flavors, not just the kebab, because we believe the things which is always left out on a kebab, on a pan on which you cook a kebab on is probably more tastier than the kebab, you know.
Yeah. She's drooling.
It's 9 a.m. We need to make a booking.
So this is what I'm saying, that, you know, we serve a dish on the latest menu, which is a take on a famous Kashmiri pulao, which is a rice preparation made out of morel mushrooms. But it's a rice preparation. Everybody knows it to be as a rice preparation, but we didn't use rice at all. We use the king oyster mushroom, and then we just cut like tiny grains of rice, you know. Each mushroom is just like these tiny grains of rice, and then we cook it with the same method, same preparation. When the guests see, they say, yeah, a rice course. And then when they taste it, the texture is different, the feel is different, the preparation is the same, so they get all the flavors, all the recognized aromas from the dish, but it's not the dish what you were expecting. It was something much more than that. So I think that's how you can make things interesting, especially Indian food, is because people think it's a bit boring. People think it's greasy and heavy, but you know, it's all depend on
proof here that is not true.
Yes.
So would you collab with any of the other amazing Indian chefs there right now? Like we have Vikas Khanna, who's come to Dubai, and then we have Vineet Bhatia.
Yes.
Would you collab and do some joint
We have
event
already done 6 collaborations last year, and one of the Indian chefs we invited was Pratik Sadhu from Mask Restaurant in Mumbai, which was also gained a lot of popularity. The approach of Chef Pratik is to, he's Kashmiri, so he goes every now and then to Kashmir, bring in fresh produce, spices, berries and everything. And so he's an amazing chef. We cooked together, had so much fun. And I think this collaboration dinners are so amazing. And it's not just about learning a few recipes or techniques or secrets. No, I think it's about celebrating my cuisine, my version of Indian food and his version of Indian food, and it all turns out to be an amazing night. And it's for those people who are up for this kind of experimentation, you know, these kind of nights, the dishes which comes out has potential to become, you know, amazing dishes.
But listening to your passion and listening to you talk about food, I'm just sitting here being like, amazing. But unfortunately, this is the time, all we have time for. Guys, this has been the internationally acclaimed, highly respected, and now newly chef of a Michelin starred restaurant, Chef Himanshu Saini of Tresind Studio, which is now located at Nikhil Mall, the Palm.
Yes.
A new location, so well worth a visit if you haven't been, or if you have been, just treat yourself again. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Learned so much about the Indian cuisine, like more information now than I knew or had like growing up. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And it's great to put Indian cuisine on the pedestal, and that's exactly what you're doing.
Yes.
Guys, that is all we have time for today.
So
thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on Monday morning, and congrats to the chef.
Bye-bye.